Basically, based on what's going on right now, consumers are the loser. Because there's no way around the fact that as energy prices rise, it just gets more expensive to do everything. Longer term, as this persists, this will ultimately impact the price of, dry goods and, groceries, things like that. And those consumers are negatively impacted by high prices. So that will put a drag on consumer pocketbooks, consumer spending. It will actually delay certain expenditures for segments of industry that are very energy intensive and have a ramification that is negative for GDP. So those two things kind of offset. And so what that means, the US could see a recession. It would likely be a relatively mild recession if it does happen, but certainly you won't see a boom as a result of what's going on in the United States. And now, of course, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which is an event that pretty much everybody discounted pretty radically, has come to pass, and it's very real. And it again has highlighted the fragility of choke points, right? What they mean for supply chains, and how hopefully we can overcome those through diversification of export routes, things like that going forward. On the front line, probably the thing that everybody should be really paying attention to and most concerned about is what sort of long-term damage could be inflicted on energy production and export infrastructure in the Middle East. Because if you start to see sustained strikes on refining capacity, on field production capacity, on port facilities, that could actually disrupt the flow of energy out of the Middle East much longer than this conflict would ultimately ensue, because you're not going to begin to repair that until the conflict's over. A lot of these firms won't shift on a dime, right? Because you're talking about capital budgets that are set well in advance of execution. And so they're looking at the entire global landscape and evaluating opportunities in West Africa, in Guyana, in Suriname, in Brazil, and Argentina, and they're weighing them all against each other, including Venezuela. And so at the end of the day, Venezuela has to provide a more attractive commercial opportunity to attract capital. Well, every year, CERAWeek it's sort of like the Super Bowl of energy conferences. You have a lot of leaders across the industry that come together to discuss various issues. Of course, this year is going to be quite different. We've seen a significant flex in the programming just because of what's happened. Venezuela was sort of top of mind until about 2.5 weeks ago. And now, of course, everything that's going on in the Middle East is front and center. So there should be a lot of dialogue that's focused on these very significant supply chain disruptions that are rooted in geopolitical risk. How do you mitigate that? What does that mean going forward for investment opportunities around the world, across the energy landscape, not just in oil or gas?